What's up YouTube and welcome back to KangBrosTV. This is a late reaction video to Liverpool versus Burnley. 3-0, clean sheet. Now I want to start off with one place and I want to start off with Burnley. They're disturbingly gobshite, bro. For so long, I've defended Burnley for so many years. I was saying, you know what, Burnley have got their thing, they've got their style, they've got their way of getting results or making it frustrating for teams, yeah? But now, I'm thinking Burnley have been here for a long time. And when we played them, I realised their football IQ is dead. Like, every time they got the ball, they would just whack it over the top. They wouldn't even look what's going on behind them, some of these players. And then, I watched Match of the Day after the game, as everyone does. And it looked like, okay, yeah, Burnley created some chances. But that was the only chances they created in the whole game. But talk to me about Burnley, because I defended them for ages, for so long. But now I'm beginning to think you've been here for so long, but yet you're dead. Like, there's teams coming up and they're playing a lot better football than you guys. And they're at home as well. It wasn't exactly at Anfield. But, I don't know. Like,
nah, see, I disagree. I listen, don't get me wrong. I thought they were poor.
And it was easy, right? It was easy.
It was actually...
And it's not being me big-headed.
Yeah, it was... like I said, I didn't think... You know, I did say this to you before. I'm quite glad it's not raining and all that sort of stuff when we play against them, because that's when it's tough. Because they're, you know, they're always, you know, run and fit, make it hard or whatever. But I think you're right in the sense that it was hard to watch from. If you're a Burnley fan, it's probably thinking like it's just one. It's like a barrage of attacks, and it's one after the next after the next. But there's two. I think there's two ways of looking at it. One is, do Burnley look at that game and think, well, that's not going to happen every week. We're not going to get that level of performance from the opposition every week. Them and Man City are probably the two teams that will probably come there and treat them that way. Or do you look at it and think, that's poor, that's poor. But the way I see it is, I get your perspective of saying like they should be better, they've been here for a long time, but I guess there's glass half empty and half full, right? The way I see it is, they're still there. There's teams that have played better, but they're gone. They're no longer. Fulham started the season quite well. You thought, oh, they popped it last year. They're gone, bro. They're nowhere to be seen. Yeah, they're in the Championship, bro. They're slumming it in the Championship. There's other teams that have come through into the Premier League and played better. Who went down last year? Can you remember? Oh, it almost feels like it's been up. So Fulham went. Well, that's poor that I don't even remember. But the point I'm trying to make is no one cares. And
Huddersfield.
Huddersfield went and...
Who's the third one?
So was it
Cardiff?
Cardiff, yeah. So look at them. Cardiff actually played some decent football towards, you know, in there, in spells. No, listen, hear me out.
Yeah, I am.
In spells, they played okay, yeah. Huddersfield under the Wagner played okay football, yeah. But they probably, you look at them and they're gone, yeah. They tried to do something and it didn't work. Fulham actually probably played decent football and they end up getting tucked in by teams because they were too open. So the way you got to look at it is, if there's a formula that's tried and tested and over the course of the season will work, then yeah, you will have days where you get tucked in. Because they got tucked this weekend. I mean, it was like you said, there was a couple of chances, and don't get me wrong, if they had taken one of those chances, it could have been slightly more harder work, but there wasn't, and it was poor. They weren't very good, and that was it. Game done, finished. You know, put to bed. But I find it hard to agree with you and say, yeah, it's shit. They got to change it because they're still in the Premier League. I know they're making their money and they should probably look to invest. But I guess it's one of those things that if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I get that completely. But what I'm trying to say is, before I defended Burnley always because they were a hard team to break down.
Yeah, but
like the game started and it wasn't hard to break them down.
Yeah, but listen,
and they made mistakes and they gave Liverpool the goals.
But that's such an arrogant way of looking at it. Listen, like Liverpool have always had tough games when they've gone there. Liverpool and Man City are on a different level at the moment to other teams, which is great for us to be able to say that. We haven't always been there. So maybe you got to look at it the other way and say, you know what, these teams have kicked on to another level. Liverpool just won the Champions League and Man City have just won the Premier League, so back to back. Liverpool have been in the Champions League final back to back. That's across Europe. So maybe you got to look at it and think, you know what, these teams they're hitting levels that these teams cannot hit. So they just have to maybe just take their L and just keep it moving. That's the way you got to look at it. You can't turn around and be like, oh yeah, it's poor, it's shit, they were so easy to break down. Listen, those three forwards have caused problems across Europe.
Well, like I said, look, what you're saying at the moment is what I've always been saying about Burnley. So I want to see people agree, if people agree with Junior or me, to saying that, you know, should Burnley have moved on now? Are Burnley, because like I said, I just felt Burnley were really poor. Even when they got the ball, They worked so hard to get the ball, and it was just like blind football, literally just hoofing the ball without even looking. It was just making it easy for Liverpool. So all I was trying to say was, when you did work hard to get the ball back, just do something a bit more with it. It was just a bit like it was nothing. And I'm saying, this is Premier League. This is not. This is not.
Easier said than done. I think I do think you're being a bit of a snob. I think you are being a bit of a snob in the sense that, oh yeah, when you get it, do something. Like I said, some of the best teams across Europe have not been able to do something. When they've won the ball back, haven't been able to do something because Liverpool press so hard. And Liverpool press so high, and Man City are closing down space. Let me just... The way I see it is, I reckon what you're saying is hindsight's a beautiful thing. Hindsight is a beautiful thing. But even when I've been in a situation where you work so hard to win the ball back, you know, when it's hot, you're sweating, you're thinking, fucking hell, like, you win the ball back, you look up and all of a sudden you see people, boom, in your face. Sometimes you think, I want to clear my lines because I need to go play in their half. So I'm not disagreeing with you in saying that, yeah, they can't and they shouldn't, but it is very hard. And I think sometimes you just have to take a step back and say, you know what, fair play. These two teams, we're going to have to take our L and take a beating today, and we just keep it moving. That's where I see it.
Once again, I completely agree with you. See what you're saying. No, I totally agree with what you're saying. But I could find you at least 5 times in that game when a Burnley player received the ball with no pressure. Like, if you got people running at you, like Fab running at you, I get it. But I can find 5 examples of you easily where they got the ball with no pressure, and the crowd just literally went, "Hey!" It was that embarrassing. That's what I was trying to say. Like, I get you. If Liverpool were pressing,
poor.
What I'm saying. It was very poor.
It was poor. But like I said, I think, you know, my you know, like as I say, we probably have to agree to disagree to a certain extent, because I can't. I think, you know, even when Liverpool played Man City and Man City, you know, vice versa. When one of those teams are having a spell, it makes Liverpool look bang average when they play against Man City and they're having a spell, and vice versa. When Liverpool are on it, Man City look like rabbits in headlights. So, and that's with all the multi-millions that have been spent. So sometimes, you know, when you're knackered and fatigue sets in, and the other team have banks, it is difficult to penetrate. But as I said, I kind of can't disagree with you in the sense that they could, you know, there's times where there wasn't much pressure and they gave the ball away. But sometimes I think you've got to take into consideration that you're up against the different beast. And like I said, for Burnley, I'm pretty sure they'll be in the Premier League next year. I'm pretty sure Dijk will keep them in the Premier League this season again. And you know, if that so as far as I'm concerned, if you're from a Burnley perspective, and a team from a lower parts of the league, that's all that you want to do. You see these other teams. Look at Leeds United. They went from being up there, yeah, to fucking down here. Do you know what I mean? Hanging on for dear life. Bolton. Look what's happened to Bolton. You know what I mean? They were Premier League when we were growing up. Premier League, Okocha, them mans. Now look, bro. They're fighting. They were told that you're going liquidation. They've managed to scrape a team together on deadline day, and they got points deduction. So there is 2 ends of the spectrum, and I know I'm probably deep diving a bit too much, but what I'm saying is the aim of the game was to stay in that league.
All right, so let's move this along. 13 wins in a row now for Liverpool, right? Now, that's mad. It's something I think that's the new record for Liverpool, and this team needs to be given that praise. And the thing is, now Liverpool are winning these games in gear 2. Just as like I said about this whole Burnley performance, it wasn't like an amazing performance. No, but even the first 2 games, right? Apart from the Arsenal, where really the machine started working, right, turning the clogs. But the first 2 games weren't that great, and Liverpool are winning games in gear 2. Now, 13 wins in a row. For me personally, I think the massive emphasis has to go on obviously Klopp, but it's the spine of the team. There hasn't been there. There's always been one person missing in that spine. But now, when you look at VVD, you look at Fabinho, and you look at Firmino, all these guys, they're workers.
Before that, to make a point,
go on.
I think you're right, the spine, but the reason I'm jumping in there is because that, for me, suggests how poor Karius and Mignolet must have been. Because this guy's come in, Adrian's come in. Don't get me wrong, the guy's shaky. Yeah, there's no denying that. But if you actually look, he makes his saves. You know when you're needed to make your saves?
He does, to be fair.
Just make your saves. That's it. There's nothing complicated. Just make your saves. Alisson, I don't know about you lot who watch the videos and the people that we, you know, that watch us for over time. Alisson makes me, I realise how good he is when he's not there. Yeah, but his distribution could be better.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it could be better. There's times when you look at him and think, oh fuck. But that spine, he's gone out of the team. So we're not at full strength, because without him, we are not full strength. But Adrian's come in and done his business. That tells me that Karius and Mignolet were not good enough, like, at all. Because this guy's come in, he was without a club. He's come in and he's doing he's on job. So can you see what I'm trying to say? How poor the other 2 must have been.
Yeah, completely. Like I go back to the spine again about this team, is that obviously when Alisson's in there, you just feel so safe. Because first, it's like 2 layers. you know that you have to beat our defense, and then you have to beat Alisson, which is a whole different wall. So I completely get that. But I'm saying, like, the spine of the team right now is, I think, what is taking Liverpool through. It's always been the case. We've always been missing that one person in the spine. But now, if you look all the way through from start to finish, you got someone who's solid in there from the top, and even from Firmino, who's pressing like crazy. I think that's what's making the huge difference.
He's just, it upsets me because he's so good at the moment, but he's primed, isn't he? Well, I've said it to you before, right? And I guess it kind of takes us into our next point. But one of that front three will leave at the end of the season. I'm sure of it.
So this is a question we want to push out to all the viewers. Do you believe this? Like, this is what he's going on. He's saying that I don't see it at the moment. I think if Liverpool are going to be still reaching those heights, I don't see the reason why somebody would want to leave right now at the stage. I'm not being big-headed. There's been times where Liverpool haven't been at that level. But now, I believe if Liverpool are still amongst those top elite teams and doing their bits they're doing, I don't see why the top three would want to leave. But I guess the next topic is always going to be this whole thing about Mane and Salah. But is that got anything to do with the reason why you're saying that?
I've said it to you before. I've said it to you for the beginning of the season. One of that front three will leave come the end of the season because I think, like everything, timing's everything, and I get all that. Luis Suarez is coming to the back end of his career. Yeah, Luis Suarez is not going to be playing for Barcelona forever. Firmino is primed for that spot. Sadio Mane is ready for Madrid. Yeah, Salah could go to any one of those and fit in. The reason and the thing is, why I'm saying this is because Premier League's a good league. Liverpool's a great club, and it's a brilliant place to be playing. Right? They've all won they just won the Champions League. And I don't care what anybody says. Every foreign player's dream is to play abroad. They want to play abroad in the sun, in Spain. They want to live that life. Brazilians, and Argentinians and Brazilians always end up going to Spain. The language barrier is broken down. The lifestyle's better. It suits them. It's closer to home and it's warmer.
Would you say the same about African players?
Well, the thing about African players is, I think, for them, it's the pinnacle, isn't it? Is of that. What's the way to look at it? The best way to put it is that achievement for an African player to go and play for Real Madrid.
I don't think so.
I do. But
like for Brazilian, 100% agree. With African, I believe that Premier League is the biggest thing for them. Like, if you look back from history, back in the days when Chelsea and Arsenal were really invested in Africa, I think since then, Africa's, and maybe I'm wrong. You know, I haven't been to Ghana, I haven't been to Nigeria, but I'm saying that these countries, I still believe Premier League is the pinnacle for them. But I could be wrong.
I just think that if from an African player's perspective, like a Sadio Mane, for example, how many African players over the years can you see have really made it at those clubs? Really, Etu comes to mind straight away.
Yeah.
Yaya Toure at Barca did bits. Thuram, well, he was French African player, but you know these kinds of. There's not many that have done it at that level. Obviously, there has been few, like, you know, there's people that have been there. But what I'm saying is that chance to really put, you know, Africa as a continent on the map to say, listen, these are Galacticos. They're Galacticos. If Salah's there, he's going to be a Galactico, and Africa is going to be like, yes, that's one of ours, that's our boy. You know, that continent, it's that prestige thing. I think there's a lot of African players who have done very well in the Premier League. They have done very well in the Premier League.
That's my point.
But what I'm saying is, it's that next, you know, everyone looks at let's be honest, you can't look away from Real Madrid and Barcelona. You can't look too far away from them.
But I personally think they're on the decline right now. When I look at Real Madrid and Barcelona playing,
but that's the opportunity that presents itself, isn't it, to come in and be the man.
Yeah, but it's for me, I think Premier League's going to be dominating for a little while now. I think right now, you'd be silly to leave the Premier League. Maybe I'm being biased.
I think you are. I think you've got your head in the clouds a little bit, to be honest. As much as I would love them to stay at Liverpool, don't get me wrong. I just think that it's too. They've been there for a while. If they don't win the Premier League this year, unless Klopp gets them to say, right, when I leave, you lot can do you. 2022, when I'm done, then fine.
Oh yeah, then
but I can't, unless. I mean, there's a lot of talk about that Kai Havertz from Leverkusen. There's a lot of talk of Sancho and all this sort of stuff. But don't get me wrong, all very, very good young players. But there's no smoke without fire. If those names are being linked, there's obviously means that there's a big outgoing. What happened the other day with that spat, right? I know people. I'm sick of people saying to me, "Oh yeah, I love seeing that. I love seeing that. It's forwards. They want to score goals." The fuck out of here. There's no that should not be seen. That sort of kickoff for me it's not healthy.
But it's not unheard of, is it? It's happened before, so why not?
Yeah, but how's it always? What happens? What has to give?
What, one of the players have to leave?
Someone leaves.
Well, the thing is this, right?
Who do you think's about in the right and in the wrong in that situation?
Well, I was just about to say, if you look at our videos from last year, we was nagging. We could already see it there. We was thinking, why does Salah just slide the ball across?
Decision making, we always said. We left it to decision making.
But if you go further back on our videos, we also mentioned about Mane.
Yeah.
And how, once again, like you said, decision making and not passing the ball. So they're both guilty of it. The one person who's not guilty of it is Firmino, bruv. My man is the most unselfish person I've ever seen.
On the football pitch, yeah. I don't know what it's like in, day to day, but the thing is, I get the feeling, watching Salah and watching him do these things and how he's reacted, it's almost, and this is why I say something's got to give, and that's why I feel Salah might be the one to give, is because I look at Salah now and I don't see that hunger anymore. All I see is, so what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to drop me? Yeah, go on. See what happens. That's the sort of thing I see at the moment. What are you going to do? Drop me? Yeah, I didn't think so. That's kind of why I'm getting to that, pointing at that, because something has to give. Otherwise, you're going to start seeing Mane do it more deliberately. You're going to, fucking hell, hope, God forbid, but if Bobby starts doing it, then you're going to start looking at it and thinking, hold on a minute, this is selfish. They're all out for each other. Forwards all want to score goals, don't get me wrong. But half of me looks at it and thinks, that's not good. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Even if you're vexed with me, yeah, I get it. But do it behind closed doors. Go to the change room and do it. I don't want to see him kicking off like that.
But the thing is, you've always said to me, since we were kids, as a striker, you'd want your striker to pop off shots and want to be greedy and want to be selfish. You said that yourself.
That doesn't change. That doesn't change for me. But again, if you're a number 9, go and take shots. These two aren't number 9s. They're not centre forwards, foxes in the boxes. They're wide forwards.
But the argument is this though, right? Firmino's got his goal. Mane's got his goal. So why can't he go and get his goal? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So he just wants to get his goal. Why can't he get his goal? And I think it's ready 3-0 at the time. I can't remember what it was.
But there's. Do you know
what I mean?
Listen, that's a fair sort of way of. I'm not fair. It's a way of looking at it. But end of the day, Liverpool need to get 3 points and need to get the goals. Whoever gets them, however they get them, I don't care. And let's on Saturday afternoons when you're playing in these in the semi-pro leagues, there's goal incentives. You get a €5 a goal or £10 a goal, £100 a goal or whatever. Yeah, fine, I get that. I'm pretty sure these boys they're not going to be short of a couple of £100 per goal, right? So these incentives that they're on. Listen, I don't know what they're on. I don't. But all I'm saying is, as much as you're right. You do want to see your strikers taking shots, but it's all got to be within reason. It's all got to be relative. Do you know what I mean? If Matey's open and there's no one marking him, there's no one on him, then it doesn't make sense for me to take a shot. 3-0, 6-0, 8-0, 1-0. You know what you got to do. Game's got to be killed off. Go and get your goal. So for me, I didn't like seeing that. It's making me nervous, and I believe one of the front three will leave at the end of the year. I just don't know who.
I think Junior's doing a massive overreaction. I reckon that the fact that it's been in the spotlight and it's been mentioned, it was on Match Today, everyone's talking about it, how Salah should have passed and Mane's rant and people making memes and all this kind of stuff. I just think that's going to make Salah think twice about his about what he does. Obviously, that could be a disadvantage, obviously, because then he's double thinking what he's doing. But I do believe that I think it'll be just Klopp will handle that situation nicely. And I think the players would have to be just a bit more cautious about it. That's what I think. Man of the match in this game. Who was the man of the match for you?
Firmino.
Me, it was Fabinho. Like, this game was all about, how you're going to handle the strength of Burnley and the bullying and the, all these kind of stuff in the air and all these aerial battles and all this kind of stuff. For me, Fabinho was everywhere. If you look at his bloody heat map and all that, you want to look at it, his challenges literally bossing it in the midfield, and I think that's who he was a big player. He was cleaning up for the likes of VVD, Matip, and stuff like that, and heavily.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think the only reason I went for Firmino was just that, like, everything goes through him. Do you know what I mean? That's for me. It's like, any bit of brilliance comes from him, and I think that, like, again, the goals win you the games, and that's a bit of a shit way of looking at it. But Fabinho was very good, and he's turning into a top player. When we used to make videos, if you watched previously, we were like, what's this Fabinho? What's he about? Yeah. But he's obviously proven his worth. But for me, Firmino is just
and the thing is, everyone's beginning to see it now. It's not just Liverpool fans. It's literally every fan, every football fan is there to see what this guy does to the team now. And it's just neutrals, it's pundits, everyone else beginning to see it, and that's good for us to see. That finally people are noticing that.
Yeah.
And just to finish off, one topic is the fact that Rio Ferdinand thinks that Van Dijk can't win Ballon d'Or because he is a defender. and people don't come to watch football for defenders. Is this for you just hating, or do you actually agree with what you're saying?
No, it's not. I don't think it's. I think it is a little bit of slightly sour grapes in the sense that he didn't win a Ballon d'Or, did he?
No.
So it's that might be the case.
No defender has.
But for me, I think if there's ever a time that a defender is going to win the Ballon d'Or, it's going to be this time round. I don't think those two. I don't think Messi and Ronaldo had as good a seasons as they have had in the past, and VVD has been. He was exceptional last year. So for me, if there's ever a time to win it, it would be now. But I could totally get his point because you don't see it, do you? There has been defenders who have been unbelievable. Himself, Rio Ferdinand himself, was one of the best we've seen growing up. You look at the Maldinis of the world, Cannavaro,
and
Chiellini.
Would you pick Rio over Van Dijk, or would you take Van Dijk over Rio?
I'd like to see them play together.
But that's not what I asked you, bro.
I'd probably pick VVD. Just more because I think he's just more of a complete. He's a bit more complete. I know that Rio was good in the popping it and stuff like that, but I feel that VVD can pop it, and he has the range. I think he's got a better range, and I think he's the influence. Rio played in a very good Man United defence. I think Van Dijk has taken these lot and raised them to get to his level. So I think that will be the difference. Don't get me wrong. I'm a massive fan of Rio Ferdinand. He's the sort of person that makes you want to play centre back. The way he played, especially when we were growing up, the way he should take the ball, pop it out, chilling. The way he used to make Vidic do all his dirty work. That's a sign of a class defender. But I'd probably pick Van Dijk. How about you?
Yeah, it's easy for me. Van Dijk. I'm not saying that Rio's not a good defender. He's a fantastic defender. Probably one of the best centre backs that we've seen in our time. But like you said, for me, VVD has the whole package. And I remember even on my head of visions of Torres buoying off Rio Ferdinand a number of times. I just don't see that happening with Van Dijk. I don't see someone smashing Van Dijk off the ball and going and scoring. I don't see. If I do see it, then I have my hands up. But I just don't.
But also,
he's not strong.
And the flip side would be that Rio Ferdinand had a lot of longevity in his career. He was a top defender at a number, at various clubs.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. At the moment, I look at it and it's easy to say that. But the thing that you mentioned about Torres getting the better of him was you got to think he was way into his 30s at that point. So so it's difficult to say. Rio Ferdinand is the blueprint. I think it's the blueprint that everyone tried to follow as how to be the best defender. So good question.
And I also do disagree with about the fact that the defenders cannot win Ballon d'Or. If you ask any Liverpool fan now how we feel about Van Dijk and watching him play, or how excited we are to see him go and fucking crush a header.
But no one cares what Liverpool fans think. That's the difference.
No. I'm just saying to you, like, if I was to ask you, do you enjoy watching Van Dijk play? Do you enjoy watching Van Dijk defending? Then your answer would be, of course. That's what I'm saying. Like, when we signed him, we couldn't wait to see him go in there and fucking crunch a header or do a tackle. So I do disagree with them slightly. I think that you do not turn up to go watch a defender. If someone is exceptionally good and is a good defender, you would watch him. That's my take on it.
Yeah, but again, I guess your point is probably falls flat on its face only because you're saying if you ask any Liverpool fan, an Arsenal fan, a Man United fan, or a Chelsea fan, for example, isn't going to watch. You can watch Liverpool versus Napoli, right? So you're going to see Insigne versus Van Dijk, or you can watch Barcelona versus, I don't know, fucking Ajax, for example, yeah? Right. So you're going to see Dijk versus Messi. You're still going to want to watch Messi this is last year. You're still going to want to watch Messi because you know he can do some mad shit.
I disagree because now it's like a battle. Like when we watched the Champions League, everything was about how is the battle between Messi and Van Dijk going to go. And that's what we wanted to see. And that, I don't think it's just about Messi. You want to see about how they're coming. It's like almost like a boxing fight.
Saying that then, at that fixture, Liverpool-Barcelona over 2 legs, yeah, what comes to mind? Over the 2 legs, the one thing that brilliance that comes to mind?
The comeback.
The Messi free kick. The Messi free kick. I'm talking about the moments of individual brilliance, is the Messi free kick.
Now, you asked me what I thought about this game. For me, it was the comeback.
But at no point do you make reference to Van Dijk.
Probably not.
But you do make reference, and that's the difference. The reason why Rio's point carries so much weight is because you look at that moment of brilliance because he can do that. Look at what he does, and it's just the defending side of it isn't as glamorous, and I think that's the reason why I think he might be right. You know, no one's going to go to watch a defender. They want to see Messi stick a free kick in the stanch. from
but
40
that
yards.
shouldn't stop a defender from being able to
It shouldn't.
awarded
It
the
shouldn't.
Ballon d'Or
But the thing is,
being a great defender.
But again,
That's what I'm saying.
but as I said, you said it from a Liverpool fan's perspective. You got to think from a football fan's perspective. All you want to do is you want to watch the best players in the attacking third score the goals because that's the most exhilarating and exciting thing.
I said it from a Liverpool perspective because we're the ones who have got the world-class defender. No other team has got their world-class defender.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. But if they did, they probably would.
Yeah, as I said, I think you know you're looking at it from a Liverpool perspective because we have that defender.
Yeah.
But
if another club did, they
but
would.
we're the only ones that are going to want to see that because he's on our team. Whereas a random fucking Wolverhampton Wanderers fan might turn and watch Champions League because Messi's going to stick one of the top bins. They might not watch it to see Van Dijk not get outrun by Mbappe. That's the point I'm trying to make, and I think that's what he's trying to make. But anyway, it'd be interesting. There's a lot of points in this video. I'm really interested to hear what people's thoughts are, because obviously me and Broski are obviously not aligned on a few things here.
Yeah, so we've got a bullshit international break, so enjoy them. I think we've got some, I don't know what they mean.
Who cares, bro? That's why we left it. We wanted to get this video with a little bit of juice to it, so at least we can have some discussions to keep us going, and hopefully you guys can keep us going for this international break.
Yeah, so don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and definitely comment. Until then,
Peace.